This film also had the creepiest Santa. And you could,
Oh my god,
like,
yes!
I'll pick Andrew Garfield. Peter 3.
Peter 3. I believe I put that on.
Ooh, that comic book filter.
This green ball?
This green tennis ball is Vecna, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about. Alright, I gotta bring up my notes. I took notes
Whoa.
to remember everything.
That's probably a good idea. I did not.
So we'll see how this goes.
I'm gonna try to remember everything on the fly.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
That's how we do it. Notes? Boo! I can't believe we would ever do that.
Right?
Oh, my goodness. Hi, Cinema Peeps.
Hey, Cinema Peeps. Long time no see.
Right? This is our Oscar recap.
Woot woot.
As of recording, the Oscars have already happened a couple days ago, so...
Well, yeah, so
You know.
by the time this episode comes out, it'll have been a week since the Oscars, but
yeah.
it's technically the Tuesday after the Oscars that we're recording this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing as exciting as the slap happened, so, you know.
But there was a few things still, but yeah, nothing quite that intense, that's for sure.
Right? I will say right off the bat, because that's one thing I do remember, was how Jimmy was like, he's like, this is the anniversary of like this thing, like controversy that happened at the Oscars.
Yeah.
And I literally sat there, I was like, are we really already referencing the slap? But then he was like, oh, is this streaker like 50 years ago? And I was like, that's funny.
Yeah.
I am never, and I was like, that's really funny, because, you know, you're setting up, but it's like a different expectation. I was like, that's kind of cool. And then the bit with John Cena went on a little too long, and I was like, all right, now I am over it.
Right?
I think especially just because he was just like, wow, wouldn't that be crazy? Wow, wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, you could get away with it like once, maybe twice, but you're pushing it.
Right? I don't know,
Too
maybe
much.
just, I just was kind of shocked that he was okay to do that on the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, really? Wow. Like, how much did he get paid to do that? I know he's got like 3 or 4 movies out right now, so it's good, like, business for him, but like, ugh.
Well, my friend Heather looked it up immediately. I guess he was wearing some
Yeah.
undergarments, so it wasn't, because I was like, did he like run across back naked? And she's like, no, I guess he just walked. I was like, boring.
Yeah.
Dedicate to the bit. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there was like immediately afterwards on Instagram they showed like the behind the scenes of how they pulled it off, like,
Oh, really?
Because he had the robe on afterwards too, right?
Yeah.
So they showed that he had like some sort of weird like thong thing basically covering his like butt and like the front part, and then when he was out on stage, when the lights were down to like show the reel of the movies and stuff like that, Jimmy and like a couple other grips came on stage with the robe and like wrapped it around him and then made it look like Jimmy was like fixing it up for him at the end afterwards when they came back. So yeah.
I mean, it was still kind of funny.
It was funny, yeah, for sure. I feel like the intention was to have that to like get everybody's minds off the slap.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like, we need something new for people to talk about because the slap's getting old now, so let's find something new for people to talk about.
Right, so that's why I thought it was funny, because like I said, the second he's like anniversary of a controversy, I was like, no fucking way are they doing this again? And then it was like, oh, it was this random streaker, and they showed the clip, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because maybe there was like that, you know, not like full intention of being like, oh yeah, do you kind of remember that? Just kidding, it's this. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I just hope going forward now that like we can put all of that to rest. It's like we don't need to keep like upping the game now. Let's just like, you know.
Yeah, they gotta stay relevant. Ravioli. Say relevant somehow, but you know, I do agree. I hope there's something different.
Yeah.
And I guess that was the other thing that a lot of people, like some people were complaining about online, was when the animation category came up. And again, they made a joke about, oh, these are the ones you watch with your kids. And people are like, I'm kind of sick of the Oscars, like, dunking on the animated category and saying, like, it's only for kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, like, really thinking about it, I was like, yeah, they, like, periodically make that the same joke every fucking year.
Yeah.
Like, you would just think at one point, someone's like, hey, we've already said this. Can we think of another joke?
Yeah.
or anything.
Was that Jimmy who made that joke?
Yeah, I think it was Jimmy.
Okay.
But then I reminded me, like, yeah, like the year before, the year or 2 years ago when Amy Schumer made the same joke.
Oh.
And again, she got some heat, but again, I don't think that's necessarily fair because it was probably maybe someone wrote it. I don't necessarily, maybe she did, but you know, here nor there. But now, like, the more I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, almost every year that kind of joke is always brought up, which is, I think, a little sad considering like all the movies in that category were incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of just dunk and be like, well, it's just for kids, is like, really?
Right. And I mean, I've said this before on the podcast, but I'm not a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I don't find him very funny. Like, sometimes some of the jokes he made were okay, but I felt like, and he's done it in the years past, but this year, just because we're talking about it, like, he made a lot of, like, unnecessary jokes like that, like the one you're talking about. I think it's just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of declasses it a little bit, I guess, because it's like we're here to celebrate film for what it is. Why do we have to throw digs and insults in? Like, if it's funny for like if it's well intended and like the joke lands, it's like, okay, yeah, that's funny. But if we're just like trying to find reasons to roast things unnecessarily, and it's just kind of like, whoa, where did that come from? I don't know. I've never been a big fan of him because of that, so.
He just has a very punchable face, as I said during my Oscar party, and so it makes it very difficult for anything that he says out of his mouth. I'm just like, I could punch you.
I know, yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything like enrage-inducing. Like, you just have a good punchable face, man.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to say. I think there's a world where like you can roast something, but like you said, maybe not put it down.
Right,
necessarily.
Yeah. And I feel like,
you know,
I just feel like there's a time and a place for certain jokes, and I feel like that's Jimmy Kimmel's specialty, or at least if it wasn't when he first started, it's become his specialty now. And I don't know, I just don't appreciate it, I guess, that much.
I concur.
Yeah.
What was my thought? I think especially for like animation, considering like and again, I'm kind of equating this a little bit with like video games as well, of this idea of like, oh, they're less than, when like we're using a lot of that technology in film now. Like the whole thing with the volume that was made for like The Mandalorian, like to do the camera tracking, they do use like a video game engine, you know? So yeah, the fact that I think animation's probably made the hugest, like, I mean, film keeps getting better and better, but I feel like animation has just skyrocketed in such a quick time frame.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know it's been like maybe 20, 30 plus years, but to think how far we've come since then is mind-boggling, since like that first little Pixar short that we saw, you know, as a test demo. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so let's not dunk on the animated films anymore. I think that just should be a thing.
Yeah,
that should just be a thing.
Absolutely, I agree.
The other thing I thought was wild, but I think everyone else did too online, was Al Pacino doing the Best Picture announcement. Wild. It's like that man woke up from a nap and was like, "What's happening, guys?
Right?
What's going on?" I'm sure he had a teleprompter telling him stuff, and he's like, I got this. I don't need it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Me too sometimes, Al. Like, I was driving the other day, and I was like, I don't need to look at the instructions. I know where I'm going. And then I made a wrong turn because I was way too overconfident.
Right.
So I feel like that's what happened to Al Pacino. I feel like he was like, I got this. I know this shindig. Although I will say I will never get over... What do my eyes see here? It was so goofy. It was so weird.
Oh,
and I was like,
it was
did
weird
Oppenheimer
that he
win? Like, what's happening?
Right? I know, it all happened so fast. It was like, wait, they didn't show like the compilation reel that they usually do.
Yeah.
Like, didn't like what's going on?
Right?
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm sure Al Pacino was just like, I got this. I don't need the teleprompter.
Right.
And was like, all right, let's just...
Meanwhile, everybody backstage is like, wait, no. Ah.
Right? I just open this, right? What do my eyes see here? Like, wow. 10 out of 10. Right. 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know about you. Random story.
Mm-hmm.
So, the night before the Oscars, because on the Friday... Anatomy of a Fall and American Fiction were going to be free on Prime.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, let's watch as many as we can because we have to knock out 2 movies before the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Poor Things, I think it may also have come out. It was on Disney Plus for free.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was also Friday. I could be
Okay.
wrong on that. But my friend texted me the Saturday, I think. So I'm assuming it was Friday because that makes the most logical sense, but I don't know. And so I was trying to tell my mom, I was like, hey, so American Fiction's only an hour and 45 and Poor Things is 2 hours 30. Do we want to try to fit in Poor Things instead on Saturday night? And then we could try to squeeze in an hour and 45-minute movie the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, no. I was like, fine. Because I was like, I just don't think I'll have any time tomorrow, the next day.
Yeah.
And Poor Things kept winning all these awards. And every time I just turned to my mom and said, we should have watched it. Not that I'm blaming you, Mom, but I maybe could have got some more points on my Oscar sheet.
Well,
But-
I'll tell you, having watched it,
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, so my friend said she was like halfway through it and she was like, it is weird. And so
Yeah,
did my
it's-
other friend. He'd watched it all. He actually watched all 10 before the party, so I was like
Wow.
very impressed.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot. I didn't know what I was expecting going into that, but
Lots of sexy times, I hear.
yeah, way too many. Like, I'm just gonna go on a quick rant for a second. Like,
Hell yeah.
I understand the intention for sex scenes. And if it makes sense with the story, if there's a point to it, but 20, like, do we need like I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it felt like this movie's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I felt like we could have cut a whole hour out of this film because it was filled with like sex scene after masturbation scene after sex scene. Like, it was like, okay, I get it, but like I'm at that point I've lost the point of the story, you know. So that's my beef on that movie. And I mean, all props to Emma Stone. I wasn't expecting that from her, so I was very shocked to like see all of that. I mean, no judgment, but like, I don't know. I was just like, whoa, okay, like what is this? What am I watching here? It just, yeah. That's my rant.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna attempt, I think. Well, maybe I'll just have to watch it. There's so much sex scenes, my mom's just not gonna be able to handle it.
It gets to be too much after a while. So yeah,
and I will not be watching with my brother then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess on one hand, I shouldn't have been surprised that Poor Things kind of snuck in quite a few awards, because I mean, I think out of all the films, that was like the newest one that came out. So knowing my Oscars logic, but unfortunately I was so busy trying to get all the food ready and get organized. When I started making my picks, I was not focusing at all. So I did not do very good. I think a lot of the ones like I made in our prediction video, like I should have done in my thing, but I didn't because I was
really?
silly. I was just so silly. But oh well, the point is not winning. The point is having fun.
Exactly.
And everyone said they had fun. Or if they're lying, then we will accept it. But it was good times all around.
That's awesome. I'm really happy that Divine? Is that her name? Divine?
Yeah, and I should have.
Davine.
I don't know why. I was like, I should have put her down, but I didn't. I put Megan Ferreira.
Oh, really?
I listened to my heart. I don't know why.
Because I think you voted for her in our.
I'm pretty sure,
video.
yeah, too. Because again, I forgot everything. My brain was mush. So there were so many where I was like, why did I, like, after we started, like, checking things off, I was like, why did I pick this? What was I thinking? Oh, yeah, I wasn't fucking thinking. That was the issue. But yeah, I was very happy she won. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of, like, I don't know. For me, I don't know about you. For me, there wasn't, like, minus the upsets from me being stupid. But, like, for me, like, for the most part, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I felt like there was at least a pretty even sprinkle around, like,
yeah.
Barbie didn't, I voted a lot of Barbie, and I was like, I should have not, because I was foolish. I mean, they still got, song, which I feel was in the bank anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel for the most part it was, like, pretty evenly sprinkled, like, Anatomy of a Fall one for writing, I think. I mean, Oppenheimer did get quite a few, but I feel like Poor Things was like kind of on its heel as well for
a little bit, but yeah, it felt like
part.
everything, well, not every film, but like like you said, it felt like there was a few variety of like winners, which was nice.
And I mean, I was surprised, like, Godzilla won.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I didn't realize that, like, I guess it was a very small VFX team and it was a very small budget.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then
Yeah.
they all came up with their little Godzillas, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah.
Thought
And
it was very cute.
I like that it was a female editor who won Best Editor.
Mm-hmm.
That was
for
awesome.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, to me, the biggest upset, or the one I was the most surprised, was Best Actress. And so
For
was
Emma
Emma
Stone?
Stone.
Yeah.
I think Emma Stone was also surprised.
Yeah, very much so, yes.
That face of like, oh, like very shooketh.
Yeah.
And I thought I don't know, I'm pretty sure she's won before. And
Yeah.
someone's like, no, I think this is her first win. And then I saw an article where it's like, second Oscar win. I was like, well, see, she didn't need another Oscar. I'm just kidding.
But
I just kid.
I didn't appreciate the joke that Jimmy Kimmel made after the fact. I thought that was kind of rude of him where he said, we should check that envelope, make sure you rip it up. We don't want to have another Best Picture mishap because whoever read it read Emma Stone, and everyone had been saying how Lily Gladstone was favorited to win. So I think he was trying to make a dig at how, like, oh, everyone suspected she was gonna win, and are we sure Emma Stone won? Are we, like, should we check that ballot? So he made that joke, and it was like, really, like, come on, like, that was like inappropriate.
I said, there was a lot of heckling happening, but I think I remember even hearing some boos at one point. I was like, I didn't hear even what he said, because again, there was a lot of heckling during just us alone. But now that you said that, that's kind of fucked up. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, like I said, I think that was maybe the biggest upset of the night.
Yeah.
But it seems like Lily Gladstone was, like, happy for Emma Stone. Like, like, there's no bad blood, so why... Yeah, just,
I don't know.
Again, that theme of, like, punching down. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, like, why be a shit disturber when clearly there's no need to disturb any shit?
Right?
Yeah. I will complain about the in memoriam section, because...
Oh my god, yes, the screen changing?
Yeah.
Deeply upsetting. That was... I'm sorry,
Everybody
I know that's not the main focus of it, but, like, that was so dumb.
But still, like, everybody I talked to said the exact same thing. They were like, we couldn't read the names half the time because it was, like, a wide shot of the screen that it was being projected on. Plus, you had dancers on the stage as well, so it was distracting. And then at the end, they cut, and it was just, like, a whole list of names that they didn't get to. I'm like... Really? Come on. Like,
the one thing I could be like, you can accept, like, you can let this be as long as it needs to, is that.
Yeah.
Because, like what, like, what did those last people on that list, like, what did they do to you? You know?
Right?
Like,
and my mom said she was able to kind of, like, pause and pick it out. She's like, there were some big name actors in there that have passed away, who, like, there was one guy, Treat Williams, I think is his name, but he's been in a couple Hallmark Christmas movies in the past, and because he passed away recently, and his name was on that list, and you didn't see it because it was so tiny at the end,
and some people it went by so fast, like Matthew Perry, that was a blink and you fucking missed it, again because they were probably cutting it to this song or whatever, but it's like. Again, like the one thing I wouldn't have criticized you for having it be long is the fucking in memoriam. But I was not a fan of the changing screens because I'm like, again, they're probably trying something different. So like, I don't want to shit on their creativity, but it's like, this is like the time to be reflective. So when there's twirling dancers, it's very distracting to see, like you said, who is on the screen. And then it like split and then it was like in behind because I guess those ones were the composers. So they were with the composing area and it's like, okay, I guess. But then like some people just got like the little square, like the rectangle, and then there was 4 on screen. I was like, what?
Right?
Like
at that point, it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, come on.
Like, don't get, like, no shit to the composers and conductors that they, were in memoriam to, but it's like, they got this little special thing, but then everyone else got some, like, make it either even, or don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the splitting of the screens was just, distracting and weird.
Yeah, very weird.
Did not like. 0 out of 10.
Right. It was cool
0.
though that they did like now that I think about it, because they did like a nice little nod to the stunt teams of like films and stuff like that. So I like that they had like a little
Yes.
like compilation of all stunt people and everything. But then it got me thinking. I'm like, why don't we have like a best stunts category for the Oscars?
Someone said maybe I'm pulling this out of my asshole, but I thought somebody at the party said that I think that there's gonna be one next year.
Oh, okay.
So
that's cool.
Again, maybe I'm pulling that out of my asshole. So if there's not, I apologize. But yeah,
that's cool.
I think there might be, because it does make sense.
Yeah,
I know Tom Cruise would probably win every year, but we at least need to have that option out there,
Right? Yeah, the stunt teams, they've been around for years and they're important too. So I feel like they should get some recognition as well.
Very, yeah. Sorry, I'm still mad about the immemorial thing that we talked about.
Right?
Still a little grumpy about it.
I did like how they presented the best supporting and like lead actor and actress things, where they had like the previous winners come up and like say a little bit about each nominee. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was too long.
Oh, really?
Again, I maybe just because it was like, we had Jimmy Kimmel's 20-minute speech, and we went right into this thing, and I was like, wow, why is this so long?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, are we cutting the other categories because of this? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, I've always liked the idea of, like, the past winner giving the award to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they were probably just trying something, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this. Like,
yeah.
let's chop it along.
Yeah, I mean, they do put a lot of emphasis and focus on the acting and like the acting categories, which is fine. I mean, that's important too. But yeah, it does feel like they kind of just like skate over everything else, and it would be nice to do, which is why for the most part I appreciated that it felt like they were celebrating more of the essence of film this year with a lot of the things that they were doing. I like that, like Arnold and Danny DeVito came out and did like a fun little joke with Michael Keaton about Batman. I thought that was really cool. Just I enjoyed that kind of stuff. But yeah, it does feel like they kind of do put a lot more focus on like the actor categories than anything else.
Yeah. Obviously, that's because I think what the average Joe person recognizes, right?
Yeah.
Because they see it, and they're part of more pop culture.
Yeah.
You're never like, wow, who's that? Oh, that's that editor from Oppenheimer. Where is she? What is she wearing? That's crazy.
Yeah.
She broke up with her husband? That's wild. Scandalous.
Yeah. So,
like, I get to a degree, but, yeah. It's, I guess it's one of those, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Us as a society need to calm our titties sometimes. But yeah, I held a little Oscar party again this year. And again, if I have some pictures, I'll try to get some out. But yeah, my goal was to do 10 dishes based on the Best Picture nominations.
Nice.
So I dwindled down to 6 appies, 2 desserts, and then 2 drinks.
Nice.
So we did. Kendra actually sent me a recipe for Barbie lemonade, which was actually very good.
Right? It's delicious.
It was very handy. But yeah, it definitely didn't turn out as pink as the video. But I figured even when I saw the video, I was like, that girl's cranked that saturation all the way up. But you know what? That's fine. You do you. We also had sludge bombs, which we unfortunately didn't partake in because we were just so busy, for Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had, for poor things, we did sausage rolls. Maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I was like, it is steampunky, and that's in London, so that's what we're going with. And it's also very tricky when you haven't seen the movie, so bear with me. And for the holdovers, my friend made, I was going to say vegan clam chowder, but no. She made dairy-free clam chowder by using coconut milk.
Nice.
And it was very delicious. And then she also made, not naan bread, but I'm saying it wrong. I know it. I'm so sorry. For Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, bannock?
Thank you, bannock. She made homemade bannock, which turned out really good. And then my friend made wings for American Fiction, which I was like, that's low-bearing fruit. But if you see the movie, you go, you know what? It actually works very well.
Nice.
For the subject matter of the movie. And then he also did a beer battered sausage for Zone of Interest. Because it's in Germany, so these are German sausages.
Nice.
And then we had... I made a like deep fried zucchini for Past Lives because it's a Korean dish and the characters are from Korea.
Cool.
And then our 2 desserts were Anatomy of a Fall. I made blueberry tarts because it happens in the French Alps. And that's apparently the most popular dessert.
Yummy.
And then the last one, my friend made an opera cake for Maestro.
Nice.
And I helped make it.
Nice.
Because it's a lot of work. And it was a lot of work to put everything together. So I thank everybody who helped me. Because, oh my god, that was a lot of work.
That's awesome.
So much so that I believe next year I'm going to order pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe make a signature drink and dessert. And that's it.
That's probably a great idea.
Yeah, that's always, as we call it, the overdo it gene, as you said.
Yeah, the too much gene.
Yeah, we do it all the fucking time. So,
right.
Without fail. So there you go.
That's funny.
But yeah, and then my friend went out and got a little red carpet, and we had it to the to the food table.
Nice.
So yeah, again, thank you to everyone who came and helped me make all the food. It was much appreciated.
So then I guess to wrap it up, I guess, like I know we're going a little bit over time, but I'm curious to know, because we really only delved into a couple of the Oscar movies beforehand.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts on some of the other ones? Like I watched The Holdovers, you saw The Holdovers, you saw more Oscar films than I did, but like what did you think of majority of them?
I think this year there was a lot better selections.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I said, I was pretty excited because like Past Lives is more like a romance. Anatomy of Fall is a crime thriller, which is right up my alley.
Yeah.
So just having like a couple more things that were not like typical, always the same kind of Oscar-y movies, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was really nice. I feel like for me the only dud was Killers of the Flower Moon. But I think that's literally just because it's too fucking long. It's 3.5 hours. I think it's the longest.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Oppenheimer was also 3 hours, but there was a reason that editor won an award because the pacing of the movie was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that 3 hours went by so quick.
Nice.
Like, we didn't even, like, we had, like, me and my mom had one slight pause in the movie, but that's because we had to do stuff. Yeah. But even still, it was like a 5-minute break, and then we were back into it. Whereas Killers of the Flower Moon, it felt like such a chore to get through that we did. It was the one time I was like, yeah, we have to split this in half because there's just no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Again, is it a very important story? I absolutely think so, because this was something I feel like I didn't know was happening. You know, but again, it might have been like a cliff note in a textbook one time.
Right.
So again, in terms of like importance, I think it's an important story, but Martin, we need to have a discussion. Your movie, too fucking long, okay?
Yeah.
American Fiction was also very funny. I think it was, I don't know, from the trailer, it's like, wow, it's going to be laughs after laughs. It's definitely not that, but it was still very funny and very interesting.
Nice.
Who was the other? Yeah, we watched The Holdovers. I really liked it.
Because I don't think that one didn't win for best cinematography, did it?
No, it won something, but I don't remember what now.
Yeah.
Well, it won for best supporting actress, but I think it won one other award.
Yes, I think you're right too.
Maybe it was screenplay,
maybe I can't remember, but I just because it looked like it was shot in the 70s, like the feel of it and everything, I thought that was really cool. So I was a little upset that they didn't get like,
I think I voted that one to win for cinematography because again I was like, yeah, I like the overall look of it. I liked the intro. Like I was like, this is groovy,
right? And even too, like I know that Poor Things won for best production design, which, having seen the movie, I'm like, yeah, there's some pretty like incredible looking production, but I feel like Barbie's production design as well was on par, if not more, I would, in my opinion, than Poor Things, just because like everything was practically made on set and there was like not a whole lot of visual effects used. Yeah, so I don't know, I feel like that they should have won for that at least too.
I feel, well, yeah, and I'm pretty sure I put down Barbie and Lost, but I feel I should have realized that if they weren't gonna, nominate Greta for director or Margot for like best actress, that they missed the point of the film entirely, so they probably weren't gonna win other awards other than music. But yeah. What was am I missing? Oh yeah, and then I watched Anatomy of a Fall. Fantastic. Nice. Enjoyed it. Nice. But again, I like crime thrillers.
Yeah.
And I will say, they don't really warn you, because the character speaks English, because she can't really speak French, but she's German. And everybody else speaks French. So luckily, I clued in very early on to turn on subtitles very quickly, because I was like, we're going to be fucked. Because that was the weird thing I found with Killers of the Flower Moon, was that sometimes it was subtitled and other times it wasn't.
Oh.
So I because there was definitely some points where it's like, I could get the gist of what's happening in this conversation, but it would have been nice to have subtitles. So
yeah.
I think that's what made me immediately put it on for Anatomy of a Fall, because I was like, I need to know what is happening. Especially for a crime movie. And what I thought was very cool is because it was, in the French Alps, you got to see like the French justice system. So very different. So a little bit different from the American justice system that I'm very used to seeing on TV. So I just, I found that very interesting. So I, again, was very invested in the film.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I liked I just, to be fair, I'm just comparing it to the last year's Oscars. I feel there was way more duds last year than this year.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to do a tier list, I think I would put Oppenheimer first, maybe Barbie and Anatomy of Fall. I think I could switch for like second and third.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think The Holdovers would be next. I maybe put American Fiction, then maybe Past Lives, and then Killers of the Flower Moon being near the end. But to me, like last year, like the gap of like all the films I really hated was like, I think there were 2 films I enjoyed, and like second place down, I was like, it's a fight for last place. Whereas like this year, I feel like I could interchange quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And be like, you know what? I think I liked Holdovers a little more for these aspects versus this aspect.
Right.
I got a little more tougher race to like really decide what I like, get into the fine nitty gritty,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not that. It's like, you know what? This movie sucked.
Yeah.
End of story. Like, no more, no less. I can't. So yeah, I think that's my overall thought of the Oscars this year. Oscar picks.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I only did end up watching The Holdovers and Barbie, and then Poor Things after the fact. But, I mean, only see Poor Things if you really want to watch a porno directed by Tim Burton, because that's basically what it is. Just saying. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the ceremonies this year more than in the last couple of years, at least. Like, I feel like the year that Coda won was the last time that I like thoroughly enjoyed watching the ceremonies. I feel like I can't remember if that was I think that was a couple years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then, since then it's just been kind of subpar. But no, I liked all the segments they did this year. It didn't feel too soapboxy and political, which was nice, and I did appreciate majority of the speeches as well. Like, I felt like there was a lot of gratitude towards, like, this is why we do filmmaking. It's to the important thing is that we do it because we enjoy making things together, and that's why this is like, they'll like salute the whole crew. And then I like that the one guy who won best documentary too, he'd like never directed a film before, and he's like, see, this is proof that like you can follow your dreams and do what you want to do even if you don't think you have what it takes. So I thought that was really sweet too. But yeah,
I think we were heckling too much, and I did not hear a lot of people's speeches, which I apologize, but you all did great. I'm really proud of you, sweeties. You did great.
Yeah, but then, like, for films, I mean, yeah, I really like The Holdovers the most out of all of them. Again, it was the only one I saw other than Barbie and Poor Things, but out of the 3 that I did see, I did like the story, and I thought the cinematography was really cool, too, because it just felt very vintage and, like, shot in the 70s, so I appreciated that.
Nice. Yeah, I know you said you were thinking about watching American Fiction. Yeah. I'd say yeah, but it was my other thought. I say like all of them were pretty good, but yeah, I think Killers of the Flower Moon maybe is a
bit of a stretch.
Hard pass. I think you'll have to just break it up. Like if you ever choose to watch it, I think it's you. Out of all of them, that was the one we had to break up in small chunks because it's too long. Too long.
Noted.
Director Scorsese, too much. Too much. Oh, anyways, I think that'll do it for our extra large episode.
Yep.
But yeah, if you hit it all the way, thank you so much for listening to us gabble on. Considering leaving us a comment. What did you guys think of the Oscars this year? Was there any movies you thought got seriously snubbed? Or are you just kind of like, Jimmy Kimmel, I want to punch you in the face? Consider leaving us a little like C2. And consider subscribing to Two Pretty Cool Gals, in my opinion. Up to you, though. But anyways, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey. And...